Does my background matter when it comes to creating success? Does it matter where I come from? Does it matter what kind of education I have? Does it matter what I look like, what I sound like? Now, in the United States, that's a trick question because there are at times certain opportunities or lack thereof, depending where you are from or even what you look like. That is just a fact. But I'm here to tell you that no matter the adversity that you may have to overcome, you can absolutely overcome it. Ask me and I'll tell you. A kid who came from a third world country saying me no English, from a busboy dishwasher to making it all over the world, knowing 2 billions of sales within 5 different organizations, learning 5 international languages, and yes, becoming a best-selling author 2 times in a row and doing it one more time, writing another book right now as we speak. But today ain't about me. Today is about your strategic partner show and a guest that you will love to love. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready to go, let's make it happen. This is your strategic partner show. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
I've been caught up since the day that we met, and you haven't seen the best of me yet. There's nothing like you and me together, and your eyes have been so hard to forget. But there's something you're trying to hide. There's something you're keeping inside. But I'm trying to get to know you much better. It don't matter how much time it takes. I just can't give up. Whoa, I just can't give up. Can't give up. I just can't give up. I just can't give up.
Yeah, that's right. I just can't give up. It's not that I can't, that I won't. I got what it takes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of your Strategic Partner Show. My name is Ali Midawi, and I am your strategic partner, your host with the avocado toast. Today, we got a special episode, special strategic partner, and definitely someone you're going to love. I'm here to tell you that this episode is brought to you by Derrick Pettis, and I'm going to tell you who he is before I bring him up. And if you know his magic, if you know his story, you're going to fall in love and say, man, I can do whatever I put my mind into. But before we get to our VIP, our special guest, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a major kudos to the one and only Tokoyo Carlton, our strategic partner right out of North Carolina. What's up, boss? How's your week going?
What's up, Doc? Hey, everything's doing fantastic right now, man. Got some great news for our company, Running Heart Media, LLC.
Talk to me.
Just doing well. Actually, we're looking to launch a business, a communications company through a merger through another company all across the country. We're starting right here in North Carolina, but we're going to strategically move all over the country. So we're super excited about that. It's definitely going to enhance the Carlton legacy. So we're excited about that. And yes, thank you for the haircut. I appreciate it.
I was just going to say, that's for you. Nice haircut, Tokoyo. Yeah.
I'm looking good right now. I appreciate
it. They're loving it already. Well, if you are an entrepreneur and you want to leverage social media and the digital space, man, holla at your boy. We are here to help you out to create brand equity and revenue. Now, I'll tell you, Tokoyo, I had a fantastic week. Specifically, the highlight so far for me was yesterday. And I know we were in the Paradigm Change webinar, the very first and only one that I opened to the public this year. We had about 50 plus individuals from all around the world, from the UK and Australia, and definitely from the United States. And we even had some people from Central America as well, which I was very, very excited about. And I think we created some breakthroughs yesterday. Would you say?
Absolutely. It was an amazing event. And for those that missed it, man, you just missed it. You got to get on the next one. But it was just an amazing event, and I believe that a lot of people did get a breakthrough. Folks stayed on for literally almost a whole Zoom.
Yeah,
everyone
2 hours
stayed on, and that's very rare for something like that. And of course, it just meant that the quality of information that was given, people felt it, and of course, they stayed on to get more. And right at the end, you can always tell when you've done something good or you did a good video or good training or a good showing, because of all the questions that were asked. So it was just amazing, sir. So incredible.
No doubt. And just remember that you can go to iam.media today and get your access to this information plus a whole lot more for an average of $1.50 a day. And of course, you get to work with your strategic partner, Tokoyo Carlton, Ali Midawi, and the one and only Debbie Salmons. Now, let's get to our special guest that we love to love and we are so excited about. This episode is brought to you by PFS, aka Pettis financial services. This gentleman has a track record like no other, from the financial services, credit services, investment services, and so much more. And I'm so excited because he is debuting for the very first time in our show. And I can anticipate that he will be on our podcast and our blogs, because he's just a story that I fell in love with. And I could not wait to share this moment with each and every one of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, give a major virtual kudos to Mr. Derick Pettis. What's up, boss?
What's up, everybody?
How you feeling, man?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
I have never been better, and I'm so grateful for you that you're giving us the opportunity to feature you and have you on our show today. So before we dig deep, because trust me, Tokoyo and I, we are curious and interested about you and your story. We're going to be asking you some questions, and don't be surprised if our beloved audience, wherever you may be, we need you to talk to us, because Derrick is debuting in here. So I need you to kind of drill some questions out of my man right now. So Derrick, if you don't mind, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Who do you help? How do you help them? The results that you create. Most likely, if you can do us a solid, just dig a little bit into who you are as a person, your upcoming, just because if people get to know who you are and where you come from, they probably will understand why you are in the successful seat that you are in right now. Take it away, boss.
Well, I was born and raised in St. Petersburg, Florida. Pretty much been here my whole life. I've been through it all like everybody else. I started from the bottom. I grew up in the projects, Jordan Park, place out here, and it was rough, man. It's been a journey.
Right on. Now, see, you're already starting to pique our interest, because I understand, coming from nothing. I grew up in a third world country. And trust me, for those of you, my dear beloved friends from the United States of these great America, sometimes I feel like you take this country for granted, because I would take, the projects all day long in here in the United States over where I came from in a third world country. But here's the thing. I mean, still, I can't take away from that. How does somebody go from the projects and, an environment that's not necessarily setting you up to be, an entrepreneur that's walking the right path and doing the right thing for his family and himself? What happened, or where did you figure out that there was a sense of transition? Did you always knew that you were an entrepreneur and you just kind of needed to fight your way to get into it? Was there somebody in your life that inspired you? Walk us through that transition.
Trials and tribulations. Like I said, growing up in the place that I grew up in, there wasn't too much positive for us to get into. So I kind of was always a little bit smarter and focused than a lot of people around me. So I always knew I was going to find my way to better days. So I just always stayed focused on that and worked hard towards it.
Yeah. Tokoyo, can you relate to that story?
Yeah, absolutely. And in my early times, I grew up in Southeast DC, so I know very well where you came from, what type of things you kind of went through, and that's in the 80s. So, back in the day, Southeast DC, murder capital nation, whatever you want to call it, it was crazy. And so I get it, and I want to go ahead and give you some kudos real quick, because here's what I saw. Like, I've seen you on here, I think maybe 3 or 4 times so far, and literally watching from show to show to show to show, you've evolved. Like, I remember the first show that you actually spoke on, and I remember, like, okay, who is this cat right here? And he had his tone and, this vigor, he was just chilling. Then I saw another guy, right? And this guy was like, okay, this is about that business. So he changed it up. And then third guy last night, and I'm like, okay. And then tonight, I'm looking, okay, now you got it. I'm like, my man, listen, what I'm saying is simply this. Working with Ali Madawi, it tells me, first of all, that you're coachable. It tells me that, that's the reason why you see like so many people who get left back in whatever that situation was. And some people seem to elevate. Well, you became one of those people who've elevated. You didn't just take that situation. You looked at everything around you, right? You found a way, you niched out something for you. And then, of course, you found success. And here's the thing I love about you, man, real quick, because we haven't never spoken, introduced ourselves before. But here's what I love about you, man. Again, you're very coachable. And in fact, you look for help. A lot of people in that situation think they got to do it all on themselves. Yep. And they find themselves right back where they were or in a worse situation. You say, listen, man, I've came this far on my own, but I want to go further. Let me reach out.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I just got to give you a kudos real quick, man. I want to give you roses right now.
Let's give a whole lot of virtual applause, some emojis of that virtual love for Derrick. Yeah. So Derrick, one of the things that intrigued me is that you said, you were in an environment there was really no positive. And I mean, I relate. I mean, I'm not saying this is the end, to everybody's story, but I attempted suicide at the age of 19 because all that negativity that I was dealing with caught up to me eventually. I mean, I couldn't handle it anymore. We talked last night in our webinar about, paradigm and having an identity. When you experience so much of that negativity, or at least you see so much of that negativity, you kind of believe it becomes like, like this is my life. This is my environment. You kind of identify it as your identity. Can you share some of the things that you had to do to get your mind right so you can start seeing the good in a negative circumstance? Because I ask you this, there are people right now that are watching and or listening who may be saying, it's easy for you, Derrick, you're big time now. But in reality, they don't know that you actually had to take certain paths and activities and hard roads to become the man who you've become today. So if you can just educate a little bit, what do you think you were doing to transition from that negative environment as a mental behavioral change? What were some of the things you've done on a day-to-day basis?
The first thing I did was I got myself right spiritually. And that's why you hit a real sensitive spot with me last night with your conversation, because that was the most important thing holding me back. It was because I had kind of lost faith in just the world. And it got to a point where I rock bottom. And when I hit rock bottom, I gave up on trying to have faith in the world and other people, and I put all the faith in myself. And I started to believe that I could do, and I just never stopped working towards being the best at whatever I wanted to do.
That is powerful.
Absolutely. And let me throw this in there real quick. So what was the pivotal moment, right? When you came to that realization that, I need to get my spiritual life together or whatever, what was going on in that point in your life that say, you know what, Derrick, you got to get it together? What was that moment that made you snap into gear?
They slammed the doors on me, and I actually went to prison. And, I got caught up in, like I said, my environment and the way that it was just molded, and it almost seemed like it was the way we were supposed to be living. So once I hit rock bottom and they slammed those doors on me, I decided not to lay and soak in it. I picked up some books and I just started educating myself.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Good stuff. And, again, educating yourself, what type of education were you working on? Was it something in a trade, or was it just a motivation? Was it listening to great, lecturers? I mean, what was it that really twisted and turned you around to start thinking differently? Because again, people can go grab a book, but what book are you reading? Is it a novel? Is it a love story? Like, what was it that changed?
Hey, easy to call you with the love story. It's not that kind of reading, bro.
The book, I'm gonna give you the actual book. It was a book by I believe he was a professor at Florida State University. His name is Naeem Akbar. It was a book called Visions for Black Men. Mm-hmm. I read that book and it changed the entire way I saw myself and the way that I fit into the world.
That's powerful. Nice. Yeah. It's interesting that the book that you read itself, it was more of a personal, book. It wasn't so much about. I mean, just from the title, and I'm gonna read that book myself because it sounds intriguing. But the book itself chose you, or you chose it? Meaning, was somebody who gave you the book, or did you literally say, I got to look for a book that is speaking, to a Black man? Like, walk me through that. Like, because were you a reader before that experience, or?
I was a reader before that, but I was kind of trying to read books on trades. I had a machine shop and I did welding and built race cars and stuff. So when I came home, I actually wanted to start being good at what I was doing. So I started out by reading books on just engine building and metal fabrication. And I kind of got burnt out on that. So I asked the guy that I always saw with reading material, I asked him for something to read. And he gave me that book and another book. That was a book on speeches, famous speeches from, I believe, the 20th century.
All right. So real quick question, because a lot of people read books. A lot of people listen to audios. What transformed you? Like, what did you read in that book that says that hit home, right? That was the thing, that the pivotal thing that you saw and started to feel and get inside of you that say, you know what, it's time to change. So again, we understood you grabbed the book, but what was it about the book that got you on the next, you know, that next road that you needed to go on to change your life? Like, what was said? What grabbed your attention?
That's a hard question, because it was just that book that turned me in the direction of searching for a better me. Mm-hmm. And once I read that book, I went to the bibliography in the back, and I ordered every book that was in the back of the book. And you know what I'm saying? And it just went from one to the other. And the more and more I read, the more and more I actually found out about myself. And once I became comfortable with myself and just believing that anything I put my mind to, I could do, I kind of, once they opened those gates and let me out, I've been 100 miles an hour ever since.
Watch this real quick. When you started reading the books and you started to notice a change in you, was it easy? Did everybody, you know, pat you on the shoulder? Everybody say, hey, good job? And because again, in that environment, we know, hey, it could be a very negative environment. And so when you start to change and try to do the right thing, other people are trying to pull you the other way. So when everybody started to see the change and you start walking different, talking different, what was that experience like? Because some people quit, you know, when they get a little bit of edge from their, what do you call them? What am I looking for? Those people around them that again, want them to stay right where they are. Right. And you start seeing you trying to go up and lift, and they want to pull you back, crab in a bucket, right? They want to pull you right back in the bucket. So how was that experience for you to try to change around that environment? Because other people, lesser people who have that strength inside of them, they would have folded, right? They would have just went right back to what they know, be comfortable, and maybe do it when they get out, but not in that environment.
So much so, Takoyo, it's not so much just that negative environment, brother. Just a human habit. I know people that were with me in a restaurant business when I came to the States as a busboy and a dishwasher. Do you know what? With all the respect, not a knock on anybody, they're still busboys and dishwashers right now in their late 30s.
Yeah.
So we were in the same exact place, clocking in the same exact way, making the same exact, at the time, $5.75 an hour. I was thinking, man, we balling. Until somebody's like, hey, you got to stop making the decisions, financial decisions with Moroccan money. Because I would be like, $5.75. Whoa, I just made $50 an hour, because I would transition, right? But they're like, no, bro, like it's $5 an hour here. It's bad. It's really bad. But yeah, go ahead, man. Go now. I'm intrigued to hear your answer, Derrick.
Actually, the more it seems that I educated myself and I started to change just naturally, not even knowing it. It kind of distorted people away from me. I didn't have to do anything. They kind of just, I don't know. It's just the power of just being positive and being on a positive track. It kind of just pushed all of that right out of the way.
What a coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's an inside training joke for those of y'all who missed out on last night.
Yeah, that's the one thing about developing, man. It's going to either attract those type of people towards you, the people who are doing and going the same way that you are, or it's going to repel the people who aren't. And that's exactly what happened, man. So, man, I commend you on what you've done. But real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and take it out. So, because we stood there long enough. You've already opened the gates, so let's open the gates. Once you open the gates, was it easy? Even though we got all this information, we read the books and all that stuff, we got this intellect thing going on. When you got out, was there a delay? Was it still trying to get adjusted, or was like, man, I was a man on a mission?
When I came out, I was a man on a mission. I went to my machine shop though, and I went back to laboring, and I did that for about 8 years, and it got to the point where I just was tired of beating my body up. So I went back to studying. I had always done my own tax work and my own accounting and bookkeeping. So I started to study tax code and tax laws and everything having to do with accounting and stuff a little bit more to better schooled, and I started helping some of my friends out with theirs.
Nice. So what did that turn into?
I turned into Pettis Financial Solutions.
We're gonna dig into that in a second. I want to ask you one question before we take a quick commercial break. But you mentioned focus. You got focused. That is something that is very hard for the human being. Period. Like business owner or not, like to just focus on something and run all the way in with it. How does someone in so many different elements that are hitting you left and right, adversity, if you will, how did you find your lane and stay focused in it?
Yeah.
That was actually the harder part because, like, coming out and then trying to work and do everything right, and so much temptation. It's difficult, but I fought through it and made it out, man. I never gave up.
And I kudos to you for your humility, because so many people don't don't find their way back in the righteous path, and it's usually ego. There's a gentleman that we're working with. He kind of went into somewhat of a similar situation. He was in the hard part of Philly, and he was used to stacks, like I'm talking heavy stacks, and he comes out and someone gave him a chance for a job, because if you got a record, it's hard to do that. And the person that gave him a job, it was like, again, $7 an hour or $5.50 or something like that. It was not something to be excited about. Do you understand the amount of humility that you have to have within you and the ego that you got to drop to be like, bruh, like I make stacks per day and you want me to work for you in the kitchen? And he started from all the way, again, the dishwasher story, right? And made it all the way to become a trainer for the whole corporation that he was working for, the little franchise. Wow. And now his story, and we'll have him on the show to call you, but his story is fascinating once you hear it. It's just incredible. But in any case, so with your permission, because you're sponsoring the show today, Mr. Pettis, tell us a little bit about Pettis Financial Services and what's exciting in it right now.
What's wide in here?
Tell us a little bit about Pettis Financial Services as a brand. What are some of the services that are that you represent and you provide for your audience and your members and clients?
Okay, mainly taxes is our thing. We do business registrations, entity registrations, tax preparations, accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, and some other things also. But mainly,
so you mean to tell me you're a secret weapon that we have in our influencer attraction media? Because everything you said right now, every entrepreneur needs. I can guarantee you that. If you said taxes, if you said payroll, if you said bookkeeping, if you said even credit, we need to talk. We definitely need to talk, because you can help so many people within our community as well.
Right, because so many people miss it. Like, people think starting a business is just starting a business. They don't understand that there's some repercussions if you don't pay Uncle Sam.
Or you're robbing yourself if you're not doing it the proper way. Listen, and before I say this statement, whether you love the guy, hate him, I don't care. I don't belong to any political party. I think the left wing and the right wing both belong to the same old bird. Let me just get that out of the way. When Donald Trump was president, or running, I think, for president, he was talking, and they were calling him out. You only paid $700 in taxes in like 10 years and whatnot. And everybody was like, he's a scam artist. I'm like, yo, none of you understand the tax game. Because if you understood, you'd be like, yep, that's how it works. See, the tax code, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Derrick, was written for the entrepreneur. The employee is just part of the system. The entrepreneur gets to say, how much do I want to give to Uncle Sam? And Uncle Sam, how much is the least that I'm supposed to be giving you? Like the below lease. Walmart that does $1 trillion in business, and then they get a tax return every single year. Like, explain that to me. Apple get a tax return every single year. What they're doing $1 trillion. Then here's again somebody who's making $40,000 a year, and then they're paying every single paycheck, 12 to 30%, depending on what state and what kind of tax bracket they're in. And then they're like, I'm getting $2,000 back on February, baby. Woo! Let's go. We're going to go spend it. I'm like, you are part of the game, my dude. You need to be a player. So from your experience, if I can steal you for our audience and get some information out of you, what are some of like the top 3 things that you would tell to an entrepreneur when it comes to taxes right away? Do A, B, and C so you can set yourself up the proper way.
First thing is I would tell them to understand that there are 2 tax systems in this country. There's a tax system for employees, and there's a tax system for entrepreneurs. So that's the first thing I want them to understand. The second thing I want them to know is that having an entity is fundamental. It doesn't matter whether you're going to be selling a bunch of product, whether you're going to be doing a bunch of business. It's fundamental for tax savings purposes. W-2 people and employees don't get to claim any expenses, any deductions, anything. So once you register and you're a business owner, you open the door up to all kind of deductions, tax breaks, and even tax returns, like Ali mentioned.
Right on. Tokoyo, I know you and I have had conversations in the past about, I want to get things set up the proper way. Is it important, needed, or required, or recommended, Derrick, to have a trust fund to make sure that you kind of add an extra layer of protection, or does that matter? I know I'm kind of getting a little bit on the deeper end of things. It's kind of selfishly a question for me, so I'm trying to get something out of you without paying right now. This is me trying to sneak away with a free appetizer.
Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's situation is different. Some people should deal with trust. Some people should work with the 401k. Some people should just savings. You know, it depends. Again, whether you're an employee, whether you're an employer, whether you employ other people and stuff like that. So there's a lot that comes into that. There is really no best for everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So kind of it's a situational thing.
Here's one thing that I learned the hard way from a tax bracket perspective. So I got really, really, really good. Thank God, knock on wood, whatever there is wood. For the last 14 years, I've never been audited. I pay my quarterly taxes just to make sure I'm ahead of the game, but I always get back a whole lot more than I pay when you combine those. Like, it just works out that way, right? And one of the things that was a challenge for me is when I go to, like, I want to buy a car, like, dude, your taxable income is like below poverty line. Like, what am I going to qualify you for, right? That would be always my challenge. And I was taught last year, this is literally after 14 years, someone told me, don't you have payroll services? I'm like, yeah. He's like, so here's what you need to do. Pay yourself a lot more on your payroll and don't have as many deductions. So switch your style. Instead of focusing on maximizing your write-offs, just pay yourself a whole lot more, because your payroll is a deduction from your taxes anyways. So for your tax bracket, you're still going to have those write-offs, but Ali Madawi, the employee number 1 of Madawi Enterprise, is showing all this money. And that's when I started to get qualified for cars and, so you kind of have to understand that side, because tax write-off advantages are exciting. And they really, really, really are. But boy, there's nothing more detrimental when you're making, multiple 6 or 7 figures and you're like, let's go buy a car. And, like, hey, I want that G-Wagon right there. Yeah, the new one. And they're like, okay, well, this cash? I'm like, no, I'm going to finance it, but I'm going to go aggressive on the payments. I pay usually extra every single payment. And they're like, okay, well, what are you qualifying with? I'm like, oh, I got 2 years of taxes, my man. Check out that number. Box 57. And then they're like, no, we got to look at this box, which is your taxable income. And unfortunately, I can't qualify you. Do you have any pay stubs? I'm like, no, I'm a self-employed. I show you my bank account, like my paychecks, my stuff. Nope. We need to see your 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. So how important is it for an entrepreneur to have someone to lean on, like yourself, to learn from or have a little bit of guidance so they don't make my mistake? Someone who made good money, or in some cases a lot of money, but totally went about it the wrong way. That although my head was telling me, you're such a good entrepreneur, you know what you're doing, I was ruining every opportunity. I couldn't even buy a house 2 years ago that I wanted because I couldn't show taxable income.
Well, nobody can make it on their own. Everyone is gonna need somebody to lean on. I mean, it's just you might get done, but it's not going to be quality. It's not going to be efficient. So having someone to work with, having someone to guide you, having someone there for the things that you just might not be up to date on, it's imperative. And I mean, look at me right now. Without Ali and Tukoyo, I mean, I wouldn't have made the progress that I've made so far from working with these guys. So just, you have to have somebody to work with. You have to have mentorship. You have to have just guidance. You're not going to make it without it.
You're far too kind. I definitely, hey, we're going to take a quick break, but I definitely want to hear from you, our beloved listener. You have somebody right now with us that is a tax expert, credit expert, investment expert, an entrepreneur all the way around. What questions you may have for your personal situation, circumstance in your business that you may just drop in that comment, and we get to give you a shout out, ask our expert, and he can give you 2 cents. I'm trying to get you some free appetizers, so ask in the comments real quick. But before we get those questions, just keep in mind, if you are a struggling entrepreneur looking to start, grow, or scale a business, hit us up in IM.media right now, where you get to have the ability to access over 50 current modules on business and personal development, having access to strategic partners, having access to our virtual Rolodex of contractors, business developers, anything and everything you need. Heck, we're about to add Derrick Pettis in our Rolodex for you whenever you need anything on taxes or on credit or any other area of expertise that he has. So you want to work with these individuals? We got your back. Plus, you get a weekly coaching session, which, by the way, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am doing what you call an infamous income producing activity. And Tukoyo, you already know, we're about to share the screen, and I will be prospecting live in real time. So if you want to prospect with me and see what I do and how I get my clients, jump on IM.media right now. Sign up. It's an average of $1.50 a day under ME Academy, and come and join us on the webinar tonight. All right, Tukoyo, let's get you started. Maybe you have some questions when it comes to taxes or when it comes to credits or anything really from an opportunity to better your process that you may have for Derrick. I'm going to keep an eye on those comments. Hey, can I also do a shameless plug?
Go ahead, Doc.
Kudos to my wife. She just came out of nowhere and dropped a cappuccino.
Nice.
Hey, I love you. I know you're watching upstairs.
But you know what? Here's the thing, man. I went through the same thing Ali did. And actually, he was the one who made me aware of that. And that's why I went and got, ADP and all that old stuff, because it made total sense. I looked at my tax guy and I was like, I got all these deductions, right? And I was like, man, so it's like, it looks cool, right? That you're taking all this stuff off. You got to pay less in taxes, all that stuff. But like you said, when it's time to go get something, right? You can't really show any income. Because it looks like you're not making anything, even though the bottom line numbers is high, but the money that you kept or take home was very low. And so me and my tax professional that I have here locally have really strategically put something together to where, like, this year was totally different. You know what I'm saying? So I learned that one lesson from Ali. But real quick, what would you recommend? Because there's a lot of folks who listen to our podcasts on social media or whatever have you. What would you recommend for that person who is strictly working a job right now? And of course, they're depending on that tax every year. They can't wait for it. What would you recommend that they do on top of the job to take advantage of, the tax breaks and all that type of stuff?
The number one thing, like I said earlier, was to register a business, form an entity. Mm-hmm. That's the number one thing. Automatically, the moment you register, you open yourself up for tax breaks. You open yourself up for larger refunds from the IRS. So just forming the entity is the key to success. We got to get more people into forming their own businesses and being their own business owners.
All right. So there's a question on the screen real quick from Lily Gray. Welcome, Lily Gray, to the live here. And of course, if you can you direct that question for us, Derrick?
Oh, she asked.
I'll read it for you. She said, my tax preparer stated I couldn't file because I didn't make $10,000. you need to fire your tax preparer and reach out to Derrick Pettis ASAP because all you need is $600.
Before this call ends. Yeah, I mean, same story. I mean, you always want to file. I mean, you don't want to make money and not file. So that's the number one thing you want to get rid of them for, because that's terrible advice. If you have any other streams of income coming in, right? You can use those streams of income also to build your AGI, your accumulated gross income. So your W-2 income is one income that you can report, but you also can report anything you did to make money throughout the year. It doesn't even have to be a registered business. You could have sold masks during the COVID epidemic and reported that income and got credit for that. So there's so many things that you could do. And like I said, everyone's situation is the same, is different, but I would never tell anyone not to file, That's somebody you do not want to get in any mess with, the IRS. You do not want to get in any mess with them.
Yeah. It's and unfortunately at times they'll come after you years later for mistakes that have happened 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Most of the time it'll take up to at least 3 years.
Yeah, no, that's spot on. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And by the way, Lily, like you call that person and let them know all you need to make is $600 to file business. Like that's minimum. So 10,000, I don't even know. You know, like this person is probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying that, you know, like if I don't have to file until I make 10,000, they just hooked me up. Like
exactly.
I don't like, is this how it works? Yeah, no, I wish it was that. They purposely make it $600 so they know for a fact. Come to Papa, he's time to pay. Go for it. Pam Huffman. Pam said, "Can you share briefly benefits of an LLC personally as a person and as a business?"
Okay, you get to utilize, once you become an entity or LLC, an S Corp, any kind of corporation, once you register, you become a part of the better half of the tax system. There's 2 tax systems, like I said earlier. There's an employee tax system, there's an employer tax system. The employee pays all the taxes. The employer collects. It's just simple. If you want to bring more money home and put it in your pocket, be an owner, be a business owner.
Yeah.
You can still have your job, right? You can still have your job and file your W-2 returns. But being an entity allows you to claim your gas money that you use, your phone bills, your cell phone bills.
That's a mile. 50% of the phone bill. Let's go. Give it to me.
Right.
Up
you
with
see
me.
What I'm saying? So you want to register as an entity, and all you have to be doing is making an honest effort to make money, and you'll be considered a business.
100%.
Hey, and real quick, let me throw this in there because I think she may be asking something else, because I had this happen to me personally, because I'm the only person in my LLC. So she's asking to share briefly the benefits of LLC personally, meaning me by myself, an entrepreneur or entrepreneur, right? Or as a business. I think maybe that's where she's going with this, because I know when I went to my tax, or when you sign up on your W-9s and all that stuff you have, because I have different places that I make money from, right?
Right.
So your W-9s, they want to know if you're a single LLC.
Single member.
Exactly.
Right.
Then there's another one. I forget what it is because I don't know all
this
this
stuff.
stuff.
The difference is, a normal LLC has more than one member. So now the company will file a separate return from each of its members. A single member LLC is formed because it has one person. If it's just one person and you form as a limited liability corporation, you face the chances of being double taxed. The IRS won't even accept your returns. If you file as an LLC, which is a partnership, you have to register as a single member LLC, and you'll be taxed like a sole proprietor.
There you go. That was the answer I got to as well. So that's why my man knows his stuff. That's exactly what my guy told me as well. So I hope that answered your question, Pam.
Right on. Good stuff. I definitely want to dig into the other side because you went from taxes to credit preparation as well, right? Like you help people fix their credits.
Yes.
So right now there is a crazy home purchase market that's happening right now, or it's a seller's market really. And a lot of people want to take advantage, and there's always the my credit is not good, my credit is this, my credit is that. Same question like we talked about taxes. If you were to advise somebody on when it comes to credit, what are the top 3 things or up to 3 things that you would advise the person when it comes to credit?
When it comes to credit, I'm the same as I am with taxes. Form your business and build business credit. And like you were speaking about earlier, Ali, when you want to go and purchase that car, you don't have to worry about running your credit and dealing with your personal income. You can deal with the business and you can show the profits from the business, the money generated from the business. And that should do everything for you.
Yep. And by the way, the reason I mentioned the G-Wagon earlier, so G-Wagon is the only vehicle, like non-commercial vehicle, that is considered a commercial vehicle for business. So you can write off 100% every expense that you have, including the monthly payments and so on and so forth. While a regular car, you have certain limitations, like, yeah, you can do the gas. Yeah, if there's any damage, depreciation and whatnot, but you cannot claim the actual monthly payments if you are, buying a car. The G-Wagon, 100%, every dime, is the only car, just so you know, in the tax system. I forgot the actual code itself, but it's the only vehicle. That's why I've always been like, we got to get a G-Wagon because it's pretty cool. But at the same time, you maximize your write-off advantages as well. But sorry, Takoya, it looks like I cut you off earlier.
Yeah, staying right there on that point real quick, because I know someone's saying, well, okay, start a business and build business credit. The next question to that is, how do I build business credit? Because a lot of people don't know how to start even doing that. Yeah. So let's go ahead and answer that question.
It's a process of you actually put your personal credit on hold or freeze it, and it's basically the same process. You build the business, and then you start off with small credit cards. You start off with small loans or secured loans, secured credit cards, and you work your credit like that, and you build it. And you just spend all of your expenses off of your card and make sure you pay it.
That's literally what I've done. By the way, my T-Mobile phone is a business. Used my business credit to get it. The house that we are qualifying for right now, we actually used our business statements and business credit in conjunction to whatever a little bit that I can show on a personal, because I wasn't doing it the right way. Like I said, the write-offs versus the payroll. So, my man, you are on fire. I can't wait to actually introduce you to our community, because you can definitely do a whole lot of good, and introduce you to some realtors as well, who you can work with, because they may have candidates that need to work on their credits or need to work on their tax preparations in order to get them ready for that home purchase. So there's a lot of opportunities. Hopefully you'd allow us to connect you with our community as well. Good stuff, man. All right.
Hey, and just to add on to that, one other things I was advised to do was actually set up a Dun and Bradstreet. Get a number.
A Dun number?
Yeah, get a Dun Bradstreet number, so that way it's showing in the system. That's where they go check to see what you have in your business name. And it also shows, because it's documenting how long you've been in business, how many employees you have, all that stuff. So that's another thing you might want to do too, if you're looking to establish business credit, is to actually go ahead and set up a Dun and Bradstreet.
Right.
I dig it. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's talk about we got the taxes, we got credit. Give me another aisle. Investments. You are big on crypto, you are big on investment, you are literally enthusiastic about it, where you're always updating, sharing, and letting people know what's about to happen next. So obviously, past performances do not guarantee any future results. So everything that we're sharing with you in here is based on education purposes and experiences that Derrick himself has had. So same exact thing I'm going to start you off with. If anybody wants to get in the crypto world or investments overall, give me your top 3. Here's what you need to know or need to do in order to get into that space. Because a lot of people are hearing about it. It's mainstream now. Everybody knows at least Bitcoin. but a lot of people are still afraid to kind of get into the space, especially the crash that wiped out like trillions of dollars 2 weeks ago. So if you could educate a little bit on that, your top 3 advices.
All my advice is always going to be the same for every one of them. First of all, you mentorship, guidance, right? Don't go in blind. You're going to give your money away.
It's not a lottery ticket. Yeah.
Right. Second, I would say most important would be to study and learn about it. Learn what crypto is, learn how it works, learn how Forex works or the foreign exchange. Learn as much as you can about it before you invest your first penny. Don't just go in blind, or you're gonna be like a lot of sad people that just threw money at coins in the past that were kind of poop coins, as we call them. And don't ever put any money that you cannot afford to lose
That
into any
is
investment.
the $1 million advice right there. I mean, kudos to that. I hope y'all listen. Do not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. I tell people all the time, listen, like whatever, it's not about how much should I start with. Whatever you're going to put in, just say goodbye to it right now. Assume it's never coming back. If you have any feeling towards like, I needed to come back, then you shouldn't invest it in the first place, right?
That's
like
right.
The investment is a risk to reward ratio. You don't get the reward without the actual risk factor itself. So if you are not willing to take a risk, bro, you don't deserve the rewards, at least not yet, right? So that was spot on, man. I truly love that. And Elizabeth Cousins is one of the most diversified investor that I have ever met, by the way. And she definitely takes risks. She and I and a few others have taken huge risks in a few years. But life goes on. All right, hey, we're gonna take we gotta pay them bills, Tokoyo. So before we got the motivational moment coming up in just a moment. But before we do, I want to remind everybody that if you are looking to start, scale, or grow your business, and you're looking for keynote speakers, somebody who can absolutely enlighten your field, your team, create that energy, the excitement, well, your strategic partners, Tokoyo Carlton, Debbie Simons, Ali Madawi, not only collectively have spoken in over 500 conferences, in personally for me, over 15 different countries. I've had the privilege to work with the likes of Deepak Chopra, Darren Hardy, Eric Worre, and so much more. And I want to help you out in your organization to bring the best performance possible. Our training style comes with practical training, motivation, and definitely a whole lot of organization that you need to have on a regular basis. So visit us at iam.media today. Let us know how we can be of service to you and to your team. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are ready for the man you love to love, I want to bring before you this gentleman who is absolutely excited, motivated, and always bringing the best personality, attitude, and mindset to us all. He is an entrepreneur. He is a father. He is just someone who invests so much in his community, has helped organizations in thousands and thousands globally. And I cannot wait for you to be inspired. This is a motivational moment.
Hey, what's going on, fam? Tokoyo Carlton here. And of course, we just want to talk to you about a motivational moment. And here's the thing, guys. We're going to talk about hustle. Anybody ever heard that word before? Have you ever looked up the definition of that word? See, hustle is a real thing. It's breathing, it's live. And so here's the thing. Hustle, here's what it means. It means to proceed. It means to work rapidly with energetic spirit. So again, you see me every time you see I'm excited, you see I'm motivated. See, guys, that's part of the hustle. See, it's hard to move somewhere if you're not excited. See, guys, understand. The reason why you're here today is because your parents got excited. So, guys, it takes excitement to move. And so here's the thing, guys. To hustle about putting your house in order. So there's different styles. There's different ways to hustle. So sometimes it's about putting hustle together for your family, right? You've got to put your hustle together so you and your wife are on the same page. You and the kids are on the same page. Now the family is in a cohesive, level playing field because everyone's on the same page. And then, of course, it means to push forward with one's, to shove to jostle or shove, to be aggressive, especially in business or financial dealings. So again, guys, here's the thing, guys. Now that we know that hustle means go get it, it means go after it. What are you doing today? What have you done today that was called, that someone can look at you and see your activity for the day, that anywhere in it, it said hustle? So again, whatever you did today, if someone was looking in at your life today, up until right now, it's 6:50 right now, p.m. Eastern Standard Time, someone looked in on your life today, what would they say? They'd say, hey, was she hustling? Was he hustling? Did he show any motivation towards whatever goal they set? See, guys, here's the thing. Even though we say hustle, you have to have a bullet point that you have to hit, that you want to hit. So again, it has to be a bullseye that you're pointing at. And then, of course, it's not Kentucky windage. It's not doing this whole thing, seeing where the windage is so I can see which way I need to shoot. No, it's having a proper direction that you're going to. So again, here's how I hustle. I plan, do, and review. So if you're not planning what you're doing, and if you're not going out and actively participating in what it is that you plan, meaning do, right? And then, of course, if you're not going out and saying, hey, here's what I've done, here's the success that happened, here's the non-success, here's the success. So again, where did I miss it? Where did I drop the ball at? That's called the review. So plan, do, review. That's part of the hustle. So again, you got to plan it out. You got to set some goals. Second thing, you got to go activity mode, which means now I'm going out to do the thing to attract the success that I'm looking for, right? And then, of course, if I didn't hit my mark, now I'm reviewing to see what I could have done better. Where did I drop the ball? What could I have added, right? And here's the fourth thing. So plan, do, review. The fourth thing is to have the workout partner, that mentor, or somebody that you're accountable to. Because here's the thing, guys. Just like, if you want to hit a goal in life, if you want to hit something, you have to be responsible to someone. See, I know people say, well, you need to hustle in silence. What do you mean hustle in silence, right? If no one knows what you're doing, no one knows the goal that you're trying to hit, and you're trying to do everything, secretly. Well, guys, listen, you can't hit that goal, because if you didn't hit that goal, no one's there to say, hey, man, I thought you said you wanted to, get to 10 grand a month. I thought you said you wanted to grow your organization by 1,000 reps in the next 3 months. Hey, listen, I thought you said that you wanted to get to buy your son a car by July. Where are you at on that? See, there's no one there to hold you accountable. It's just like when you go to the gym, right? You go to the gym, you do a couple reps, right? But if it's on you, you may only do 4 reps and say, that kind of hurt right there, right? But if there's someone there, again, a workout partner, right? That coach, that person who's there doing the working out with you, they're going to say, listen, you got 2 more in you. And in the minute you do 1, right? I can do this. Boom. That second one's a little bit harder, right? And then the coach says, listen, you got 1 more in you. Let's go. Right? You just said 2. No, let's go. See, that's the whole thing. So guys, hustle. We go do the work. We plan, do, review. We have someone that we're accountable to. So again, guys, as we go forward, as we look at the rest of our week, as it stands right now, it's Wednesday. What's the goal by Friday? And for some people, what's the goal by Sunday? So again, plan, do, review, and then make sure that someone holds you accountable to what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Now, again, hustling in silence, that don't mean, I ain't got to tell everybody, but I have a few people that are going to hold me to the fire, right? Someone's going to say, well, Mr. Carlton, listen, someone that you trust to be honest with you. Some of us can't take some people telling us, right? Because it came from them. So again, it has to be someone that, listen, they can get up in your chest. Like I got a business partner of mine, another one of my mentors outside of Ali. His name is Derick. Guess what he does? Listen, as I was growing up, I played a lot of sports. The way that I perform, I have to have someone who's brutally honest with me. I can't do, flowers and all that stuff. That's not my thing. I got to have someone who's like, Takoya, what are you doing? You can do this. I know I just scared somebody, right? But at the same time, that's what makes me excited. That's what gets me to move. So again, find that person who motivates you. Find that person that says, hey, listen, Pam, you can do this. And you receive it from them. And they could be brutally honest with you. They can say, Pam, you're not doing your best. Lily, come on, Lily. You can do better than this. Make one more call, Lily. Right? Elizabeth, come on now. You can get more people involved. Who are you talking to, Lily? How many numbers did you do today? You see what I'm saying? So you need that person in your life, in your world, that's going to, again, hold you accountable. So again, plan, do, review, and then make sure you have somebody who holds you accountable to the very thing that you said long after the feeling that you said it in is gone. So with that, it's been a plum pleasing pleasure. I look forward to seeing you guys at the top, from the top, over the top. Take care, take charge, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bruh, you know what you made me want to say the whole time? I wanted to just interrupt and just come in as we proceed to give you what you need. 9-5. All right, let me relax. I got really, really pumped, man. That was powerful. And as always, dude, it's not about just the motivation that you provide. It's the actual one thing that you would say that makes me like wake up, like you forgot something that is fundamental, and I'm definitely grateful for you on that. Now, we got a couple of minutes until we wrap it up for this evening, and just a reminder for everybody, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, within our influencer attraction media community, our group coaching, I will be personally doing an income-producing activity. That means I share my screen and I prospect for my own business and my own company in real time. So you see exactly how I interact with people for first-time connections, how I follow up, how, what do I say? I don't script. I just genuinely talk to people. How do I bring them into a virtual meeting? How do I propose a business opportunity and such and so on and so forth? So definitely, I think it's worth $1.50 on average per day. Yeah. So go to im.media and you can definitely register and have the access. You still got about an hour to participate tonight. All right, Mr. Pettis, I want to give you the final words because you are our guest. And first of all, thank you so much for blessing us with the information that you've given us today. And there is one person right now, let's just call him one person, that is watching, and they are in a circumstance or in a negative environment or in a project or whatever you've mentioned at the very beginning. They are in the beginning or on your page 1 of your chapter 1, and they are hearing you and they're like, yeah, but they got the BUT going on. They're not allowing that greatness to come to them. What is your message to that one person that just doesn't have enough of courage and empowerment and positivity within them to do and say what you've made as a decision to transition and transform your life forward? If you don't mind, give that person that message.
I would tell them to first put faith in themselves and believe in themselves, and just know that they can do anything that they put their mind to. If they speak it and if they think it, it'll become. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. And don't succumb to circumstances. You can create your own circumstances. You can pave your own path. You can make the end be however you want it to be. Just don't let other people control how your end is going to be.
I think they call that a mic dropper, right, Mr. Carlton?
Absolutely.
That's why I grabbed this thing and just drop it. Is that the moment? That was amazing. We are very, very grateful for you, Mr. Pettis. And Mr. Tskoyo, why don't you walk us out with some final words? We got 2 minutes to wrap it up.
Good stuff. So here's the thing, guys. Understand this. You just got some incredible information. And of course, this is a gentleman who's done very, very well in his life. And the other thing is, too, is like, again, just something else I love and seeing you, Derrick, is that not only have you entered into something that brings you financial awareness, right? Financial success, to change your family tree, but you found your way into something where you had to give back, right? You had to serve other people. And I love that about you, brother, because you sat there and you say, you know what, how can I serve the masses? And you found that and you excelled in that. I mean, excelled in that. I'm making up words. You excelled in that, right? So congratulations on that. The last thing I'm going to say is simply this. Tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific. You want to be in the house. Ali's going to bring income producing activity. For those who don't understand what that means, is he's going to show you how people like himself who are on that statue where they've made money online, how they do it. This is the inside stuff that no one wants to sit down and share with you and tell you. And they want to charge you thousands of dollars to share with you. He's giving it to you tonight.
$1.50.
50 cents a day. So again, you want to get started right away. And if you haven't got started, guys, look for the link. It's right there on the bottom. It's scrolling right across the screen. And of course, don't miss it, because I don't care what home-based business you're in, what traditional business you're in. If you're trying to grow organically, you're trying to grow online, you're trying to attract people to what it is that you do, you're trying to talk to more or get more clients, guys, you want to be on tonight because the secrets will be unveiled. And of course, all you have to do is take copious notes. And here's the good thing about Ali when he goes live with income producing activities, you do it with him.
Facts. Facts. All right, ladies, this is our show. Mr. Carlton, as always, you are an amazing human being and a rock star. Mr. Pettis, thank you so much for not only sponsoring today's episode, for giving us the opportunity to get that information out of your mind. Anybody, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are really just a person in the United States that needs advice and needs to just better yourself with the money you already have to create more opportunities, whether you need a vehicle, new home purchase, or whatever the case may be, or you just want to learn about how to invest as an everyday to-day investor, you definitely want to hit up Mr. Pettis. I will certainly make sure that he is available to our community, certainly, but drop in the actual comment itself. What is the biggest takeaway that you have had? And feel free to reach out to him because he is tagged in this video, or just look up Derick Pettis or connect with him in any way, shape, or form. We're going to have more podcasts, more blogs. We're going to be blasting his information because this was so amazing. The world needs to hear this information. Mr. Pettis, we thank you and appreciate you. And until next time, hey, yo, tell them peace out, everybody.